Wow. We missed a lot, haven't we, guys? Lots of weird angles going on in WWE. Apparently, Bray Wyatt's obsessed with The Miz and his family now. Rusev and Lana and Bobby Lashley still going on. Survivor Series happened. Then the aftermath happened. And, well, you guys know how I feel about that one. Trees got set up and decorated, because tis the holiday season, and we're in the mood for some holiday cheer and holiday anger. And then things in other sports happened, and because of certain things happening in the world of sports, a certain college football team didn't make the college football playoffs because of another certain team. And to that, I will drink to that. A little bit of the bubbly, also known as Sprite. Welcome to Wrestling with Egos, quite possibly our last real show before the end of the year, because at some point before the end of the year, we will get together for the first annual Wrestling with Ego year-end awards. We're going to come up with some kind of name for it. Yes,
it
yes,
can't
sir.
be the first annual.
Oh yeah,
it can be the first, and next year it'll be the second annual. That's
inaugural. Thank you.
Inaugural. That's better. Let's use the right vernacular, please.
Yes. Okay. The guy with the vocabulary actually got the editor on that one, because normally I crush people on that one. So thank you. The inaugural Wrestling with Egos year-end awards. Maybe we'll just call them the Egos. I don't know, because we can't call it the EGOT, because that's a combination of. Never mind. Welcome. Appreciate you guys watching on YouTube, listening on Anchor Podcast. I'm Patrick, joined as always by the effervescent, the loquacious Professor Brian. How are you, good sir?
I'm doing well, Patrick. Good to be back after a couple weeks absence, because everybody's off celebrating Thanksgiving with their families. And we needed time to let it all digest. We needed time to let it all settle in, and be happy with the choices we made that weekend. How many second, third, fourth helpings of turkey did we go back and get? How many extra pieces of pumpkin pie did we, intake and whatnot?
Apple.
Apple. Yeah, we had them both at the household over here. And as you can see, the Christmas finery is up and around us, and we want to thank all of our listeners, all of our followers, all of our supporters for what's been a really crazy year. We started this endeavor back in March before WrestleMania happened, and we are knocked out by all the support we've gotten, and we hope you continue with us into 2020. So we'll start it off with that. We'll say a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays to all of our supporters, wherever you may be. But we do need, in the name of digesting.
Hang on, look.
Yes.
Jenny's pissed because there's no
way to walk back and forth
behind me, because I decided to do the show in front of the Christmas tree today. Jenny just jumped into my lap, and she is not a happy camper. Yeah, I hope you heard that, guys. Anyway, Brian, I'll kick it back to you. Brian was going to say something about conspicuous by his absence again is our good friend RJ. We promise RJ's okay. We promise everybody in the house is okay. Brian, go from there.
Yes. RJ is taking care of some things. We're in solidarity with you, brother, and we thank you for your contributions. You will be back sooner than you think. We'll put that fist in the center for you there. But in the name of digesting and in the name of catching folks up, and I know you took to the airwaves and you went all rant mode on stuff like that as in terms of survivorship, but we do need to wind it back a little bit.
Do we have to?
I think we do, because
no, we don't.
Well, hear me out on this, because there were some moments during both TakeOver War Games and Survivor Series itself where individual folks look like $1 million.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I do want to give them some shine. I
Do we
know
have to talk about the aftermath though? Because I'm going to be honest. Right now it's 7:30 p.m. on Sunday as TLC is going on, and the girls are still awake, and they're literally in that room. And I don't want to get so mad that I can't turn back. And if we talk about the aftermath, I'm gonna get so mad I can't turn back, and I'm gonna end up breaking something. And I don't want that to happen.
and I don't think that will happen, and here's why. I'd like to talk about those moments that I mentioned, and we're going to spin it forward to what's happening in NXT because some people came out of that with some richly deserved kudos.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to talk about what's happening in AEW because there's a lot of great stuff going on in AEW. And that will be the extent to which I will make you dive down that rabbit hole that you thought you left behind last week with your rant mode on. And we're not going to go blow by blow because you're the core of your argument I agree with. The problem WWE has right now is you want to elevate this brand of NXT. There's got to be consequences to go along with them. The consequences cannot just be heel Jerry the King Lawler trying to recycle his shtick from 1996 and talking on commentary about how terrible the guys from Raw were. And to my knowledge,
all about that.
yeah, and to my knowledge, the commentators on SmackDown didn't make any mention of how they dropped the ball. It was just, yeah, mum's the word, and it was just business as usual. And that's, I think, where the problem happens. You know,
Lawler treating NXT like he treated ECW back in '95.
That was that was my biggest takeaway from watching the subsequent shows after that. But again, I can see from the look on your face you're already getting perturbed. So I'll make this quick and painless as I can. I'm gonna put a couple names out there for you that I thought came off looking like $1 million.
Then I put out
huh?
I put out one first. My personal opinion, the MVP of the entire weekend.
Yes.
Keith freaking Lee.
Keith Lee is, he was tops on my list, for a lot of reasons. And what I've become aware of, I've been over the past 2+ months on my YouTube feed, I've been starting to see these older matches from people come up, whether it's Ring of Honor, whether it's, whatever independent promotion they were associated with, TNA. And I've been doing myself a favor and I've been watching them. And that's what you should do too, boys and girls. Consume some of this older content because I don't want you to think that Keith Lee just stepped off a college campus somewhere and the WWE signed him and now he's doing work. Keith Lee's been doing work for a while. So is Adam Cole. So have all these other people that we're going to talk about. But Keith Lee is a revelation for several different reasons. Number one, he can go in the ring. Number two, he's got a move set that a big man like him probably shouldn't have, but he does. And my favorite thing about him, agree or disagree if you want, he is efficient on the microphone.
Oh, he's more efficient.
He doesn't know, and what I say about this, he doesn't talk that much, but when he does talk, his words have weight. And that's an art form that a lot of people don't have because a guy like Seth Rollins talks and goes on 10 minutes longer than he probably should. And you don't remember what he said. It's not a memorable promo, and it winds up just being waste of 10 minutes and a waste of a microphone battery.
I'm sorry, man. You mentioned Seth Rollins, and I started getting sleepy.
I know. But Keith Lee, he doesn't talk a lot. But when he does talk, his words have weight, and he backs it up in the ring with a strong showing every night. That's what I love about Keith Lee.
Not just weight. His words don't just carry weight. They carry charisma. They carry engagement. Because there is something about Keith Lee's voice. Everything that comes out of his mouth sounds smooth, sounds cool because of the way that he paces his cadence. And I'm trying to mock the cadence a little bit. We talked about like people's cadences when they speak on this show before. We referenced like Stephen A. Smith on ESPN and a couple of other guys. But his cadence is very smooth and it's very just fluid, as opposed to someone like me who there's ebbs and flows. Kind of like, I kind of see myself cadence wise, not as far as how well I can articulate, but like a Paul Heyman kind, where it's just cool, okay, boom, 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 even though you can't really see my hand in the frame. Boom, 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 boom. It's very quick and volatile. But he's just that cool guy. Imagine if Brian, and I'm not trying to take a shot at you on this by any means at all.
I was just about to say, take a sidebar, and who do I remind you of talking wise? But
no, imagine if Brian had a lot of street cred. Imagine if Brian had a lot of street cred. That would be Keith Lee. He's articulate. He has a large vocabulary. He's an intelligent man. He just also happens to be a 350-pound dude that can do a moonsault and leapfrog dudes. And also shoulder block Adam Cole into the fourth row.
That was nuts. That just the amount of trust involved in that.
I had seen on social media that Keith Lee had done it, and then I finally got a chance to watch it the next day because working second shift now, it's kind of hard to watch shows as they're happening in real time. But I saw that, and I was expecting. I'm like, oh, okay, here it comes. Adam Cole's gonna catch it, and he's just gonna flip over that guardrail. Nope, 4 or 5 rows deep. I'm like, oh, holy crap!
And mad props to Mauro Ranallo for the gift that keeps on giving. Mad props to Mauro Ranallo for the gift that keeps on giving, by the way, too. That was perfect.
Oh my God. Don't get me started on Mauro Ranallo right now, and nothing against Mauro. You know how much of a mark I am for him. But we talked about Mauro Ranallo, we'll end up talking about Corey Graves, and we're gonna get old Patrick mad to a point that he can't turn back.
Okay, well then I'll call a timeout on that. My favorite moment of the entire weekend, and I think you know where I'm about to go with this because I was on social media with you guys when it was happening, and when I shared notes for a show that would have happened last week, this was in my notes. My favorite moment of the whole weekend was during the men's War Games match. It's the Undisputed Era, Cole, Fish, O'Reilly, and Strong against Team Ciampa, who at the time the match started only had 3 guys. It was only Tommaso Ciampa, Keith Lee, and Dominik Dijakovic. And as soon as those 7 guys are in the match, the Undisputed Era starts, getting the advantage, and they're laughing and they're trash talking, and you start hearing the countdown clock. And the camera pans back up to the stage where the cages were, and nobody's in the cages, obviously, because nobody else was announced. And you got a Fish and O'Reilly. No one's coming out there. You only got 3 guys, all this other stuff. It hits 0, and there's another 5-second pregnant pause before Kevin Owens' music hits. The combination of the pop from that crowd for Kevin Owens and the look on Adam Cole's face, he's draped up against the bottom rope in the corner after taking a move from somebody, and he's collecting himself, and he realizes who's coming out, and just the oh no,
crap. Oh bleep.
And I got excited because what I thought it meant at the time, and I realized it doesn't mean this now. It's kind of like AJ coming back a couple of years ago from the European trip to do the one-off thing with Finn Balor at TLC 2017.
Right.
Kevin Owens was just helping out NXT. We need an 8th guy in this match. We're not going to rush somebody in, because we don't think other guys are ready. We theorized who it could be a couple weeks ago. I advanced Kushida and other guys like that, but that never came to be for whatever reason. Kevin Owens comes out and looked like a man possessed. I mean, he was going after everybody, hitting move after move after move. And in the crescendo to that match, all 8 guys got a chance to look like world beaters. which is pretty cool. And Tommaso Ciampa's team winds up winning after the I forget what the move is called, but the crushing move through the table. Yeah, because
off the top of the cage through 2 tables. Let me ask you a question, because obviously that move was baller. And some people have had a problem with this and some people haven't. Did you have a problem with them showing Britt Baker?
I noticed it, and at the time, I'll answer your question really quick. I didn't have a problem with it because I think it was coming from a place of genuine concern because those two are either married or dating or engaged or one of the three.
They're dating. I don't think that Adam Cole's popped the question, baby.
But boom, he's going to at some point. But yes, I know you're in competition with AEW, but if Britt Baker's there to support her man, there wasn't anything there. They didn't make snarky comments on commentary that I saw. They didn't even flash a graphic, really.
No,
they just 3 seconds or 4 seconds on her or whatever, and then back to the action of the match. She was just showing genuine concern for her boyfriend. That's all.
Morrow had mentioned, and there you see Adam Cole's girlfriend, Britt Baker. He mentioned her by name, which I honestly think you almost have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you don't mention her, then your cameraman and your director look like goofs. Because just put the camera on somebody we probably didn't need to put the camera on.
Now I know that later on, AEW sent that up somehow.
Oh,
taking a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I forget how they did it, but
when Nyla Rose on the Dynamite that followed, or it might have been last week's Dynamite, I can't remember, powerbombed a ref through the table, and Britt Baker standing there with the same reaction. But it was happening during that commercial break, picture in picture. So we don't get to hear commentary, but they posted it on social media with the text, "That's Adam Cole's girlfriend."
Okay. Do I have a problem with it? No, because I look at it as a moment of just genuine concern. Oh my God, I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
That sort of thing, because there's an element of risk involved in trusting the guy you're wrestling to do that to you.
Right.
So
I'm the same way. I know some people have had it and thought that, oh, well, WWE did that on purpose, blah, 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 blah. Triple H said that it was an honest mistake because the director didn't know, well, the cameraman and the director were looking for a really good reaction shot in the crowd, and they didn't know who she was, and people didn't believe that. I honestly do. I mean, honestly, as much as you're probably working for WWE, you're probably closeted off from a lot of things. I can only imagine if we worked for WWE, I sure as hell wouldn't be able to follow college football. I probably wouldn't be able to follow much of baseball hot stove right now, which are things that I follow. I wouldn't have been able to follow boxing last night, things of that nature. So I've never had a problem with it, probably never will. Mainly because WWE took care of her.
Yeah.
They didn't make her look bad. Now, if WWE would have made her look bad or made her look stupid, then that would have been tacky as a mofo. But
all it was a 5-second reaction shot showing concern because somebody I care about just got a huge move done on them, and it looks like he's hurt somehow. That's all it was.
Yeah. What about the weekend did you like other than War Games? Let's be honest. All of freaking TakeOver and some of the matches of War Games. What else really stood out to you in a positive? Got to keep this positive, and let's just rapid fire a couple more things and move on.
This will be my last one, and I'm going to combine two things into one because these two women are on a collision course with each other now.
Mm-hmm.
I've spent a lot of 2019 getting to know Miss Rhea Ripley. Another name that I had no no clue who she was until she came to NXT, which is a fault of mine, which I need to, I need to consume more content from outside my little box here.
Hell, you need to consume NXT UK because those first couple of matches she had with Tony Storm were just killer.
Yeah. But Rhea Ripley, I've thought since I started watching her matches on the regular, maybe she's the one that can finally take down Shayna Baszler. And the reason I want to put Shayna Baszler's name in here is twofold. Number one, they have a match coming up this Wednesday on NXT television for the NXT Women's Championship. Number two, they've done a great job of reminding us how many challengers Shayna Baszler has turned aside, especially with the promo package from last week on NXT television. It went about a minute plus, but she ticks off all of these names throughout NXT that she's turned aside, including the people on on Raw and SmackDown that she's tangled with, Becky Lynch and Bayley, and Charlotte, and so on and so forth. And she circled it all the way back to Rhea Ripley, saying, okay, so you win a couple of matches and now you think you're going to be the one, to take me out and take my title. And it's done a very good job of building the anticipation for the two of them tangling. And I think they'll tangle without any distractions, because another thing that I want to bring forth is the horsewomen haven't been that much of a factor lately. You don't see a whole lot of Shafir and Duke, which I think is great, because it means you'll probably see them Wednesday somehow, but they'll probably get tossed away from ringside, and then we can just get down to, you and me for the title. And maybe this is where Shayna makes her exit and goes to Raw or SmackDown. I don't know. But Rhea Ripley is the first one that's convinced me that she can take down Shayna in the way that Io Shirai couldn't, or Candice LeRae couldn't, or Bianca Belair, that sort of thing. So Rhea Ripley is the other one for me that did herself a lot of good that weekend.
I agree. But I'm going to throw you one more. And I think it's just kind of, for this particular wrestler, it's rebuilding equity to say, hey, I'm still that damn good. And now it'd be Finn Balor. Finn Balor against Matt Riddle looked like NXT Finn Balor. No, actually, you're right. He looked like Prince Devitt, the OG leader.
I think the only reason I didn't mention him was because I always mention him. People are getting tired of me mentioning him, and that sort of thing. And I dig what he's doing,
Oh, love it.
But there's so many other people.
Hey, Brian, since you always mark out for him, let me do this one for you. Let me mark out for him. Because what you're looking at, Finn quickly turned from white meat babyface to heel. And it wasn't like a forced heel turn. It was one of those organic, cool heel turns that even if you see it coming, it's still cool that it happened. And some of the things that he said during his promos, Bray Wyatt put his mask on and became the hottest thing in the business. I took mine off, and then I became the hottest thing in the business. The Prince is back. The past is my future. Because he's been enigmatic.
Bunch of tough guys out there on social media, or Twitter tough guys out there on social media. That's my favorite.
That was good too. But what you're looking at is he's literally going back to being he's really and truly only Finn Balor now by name, because he's truly acting and behaving the way Prince Devitt did as the real rock and roller in New Japan, which in my opinion, amazing stuff, because his promos had so much venom in them. during that point. So it's just like, all right, you keep doing what you're doing. And it shows that it's catching, because now he's got a title shot on Wednesday with Adam Cole Baby for the NXT Championship. I'm here for that as well. I think that might end up being another foreshadowing here, people, another match of the year candidate that we may need to talk about at the last minute here in a couple of weeks.
And another thing I like that Finn's been doing, he's doing a very good job of being the lone wolf.
Yes.
Getting as many people angry at him as possible. And that's to his benefit, because now, let's say this is a one-off with Adam Cole and he doesn't win on Wednesday, which I don't know that he's going to. I think it's going to be a 30-minute match easily, go over 3 commercial breaks or whatever they're going to do. I think somehow Cole finds a way to get the job done. But look at what that does for him for 2020. He's already got 4 people that he's got ready-made feuds with. He could keep going with Cole, Ciampa, Gargano, Matt Riddle, and Keith Lee for that matter. 5 people. And I will be there for every single one of them, because I know all 5 of those guys I mentioned can go. And who wouldn't love to be in the ring for a couple of months with Finn? Think about what a valuable experience that is.
Let me ask you this, and I think this should be the last thing, and then we'll move on to more current events.
Done and done.
In a perfect world, if you were booking it, who would you rather see Finn work a program with out of those 5 guys that we've named? Who would be the one guy that you'd want to see?
Oh dear.
I know that's a tough one. Finn Balor versus either Adam Cole, Ciampa, Gargano, Keith Lee, Matt Riddle, or what was the 5th one?
You named 5.
Okay, I did. Okay.
Him and Ciampa, I think, has the most potential, because now it's psychology versus psychology. We don't know the other 4. The other 4 guys aren't known for like psychology necessarily.
Right.
They've all got great work rate. They're all decent to above average to wonderful on the microphone, but Ciampa's
Jake the Snake.
Wits with Balor in a way the other 4 can't.
Right. Ciampa is a modern day Jake Roberts.
Yes.
In my opinion, I think Ciampa's brilliant. I would either go Ciampa or Gargano. I would go Ciampa for the same reasons that you would, because it's psychology and psychology. And when you have 2 guys that can do that kind of work, it just elevates everything. It's kind of like, even though it's very, very cringy, and I mean very cringy to the point where I don't really like it, it's like Bray Wyatt and The Miz, and they're intertangling the family, which I'm not here for that, but it is that kind of really good psychology. It's just not a home run for me. Going back to this, though, Ciampa and Balor would be that kind of psychology, because you have a lone wolf, a very untrustworthy prince in Finn Balor, and then we have the psycho killer that is Tommaso Ciampa, that has proven during his run as NXT champion that he cannot be trusted. So it's one of those really beautiful things, and I would like to see that. I'd also like to see Balor and Gargano, because now you have I'm gonna do what I want. I'm cool. I'm the hottest thing in the business. And then you have nothing but heart, white meat babyface. And when you have that cool bad guy and that really exciting white meat babyface, that's always fun too.
Well, didn't Gargano turn for a little bit before he got injured? So could you make the argument that he's not really a babyface right now?
Oh, he's
plumbing the middle ground.
He's not pulling the middle ground. The fans are making him pull the middle ground, because they're Johnny's kind of souring on people because it was just, you know, he was one step away from Bo Dallas. All you got to do is believe. It's just that much of a rah-rah guy. They never really made Gargano that much of a badass because what happened, what was supposed to happen, wasn't able to happen because Ciampa had to have neck surgery. Right. I think if Ciampa would have been able to finish that angle off at TakeOver New York with Gargano and let Gargano win the title, I think we would have seen like a redemption of Johnny Gargano, and then the perception of him would have been a lot better.
True.
But I think because he ended up having to go into the ring in a 2 out of 3 falls match twice against Adam Cole, and Adam Cole is so damn popular because he's charismatic and he's freaking good in the ring. I think kind of like hey, Kazuchika Okada can be a heel, but Okada's going to get cheered because Okada's good. Yeah. Jericho can be a heel and as Le Champion of AEW, but guess what? He's going to get cheered. Why? Because even at 530 years old, the son of a gun can still freaking go.
Well, then let me be the first to say thank you, good sir, for allowing me to, indulging me in running it back a little bit for the goings on from the final weekend in November. Now let's move forward to current goings on, which we've alluded to a little bit. I actually am going to surprise you here. I want to start with AEW because I've noticed something going on.
I have too, but I don't think.
RJ, big shout out to you for this.
Hey, real quick, before we get into this, I want a little bit more foreshadowing. I want to tell you. You had your fireside chat several weeks ago talking about the things that you were thankful for as far as this show. You want to know what I'm thankful for this week?
Give it to me.
RJ's not here.
Okay.
I have a feeling if RJ were here, RJ would reach his hand through the internet and rip out my throat for something that I'm going to say here in just a few minutes. But go ahead. AEW.
What I've noticed is, and it has to do specifically with Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho is doing something masterful right now. Yeah. I don't think you know what I'm about to say here. I think this is going to be genuinely surprising to you what I'm about to say. Okay. Insight you didn't see coming from this guy about AEW.
All right, hit me.
Chris Jericho is doing a phenomenal job. It doesn't matter who he's talking to in the ring. He makes them come off looking like $1 million. He made, and I'm going to get his name wrong, Marco Stunt.
Yes.
3 weeks ago, I think it was. It was either 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago. Jericho's going on, and Luchasaurus and Marco Stunt, and I forget who the third, the short kid is. Jungle Boy come down. Marco Stunt out of nowhere grabs the microphone and starts talking about why he thinks he should, I remember what it was. Jericho said he was contractually obligated by the brass at AEW to wrestle one more match in 2019 as Le Champion, all this stuff. And Marco Stunt, I want a shot at the title. He didn't talk for very long, but then when Jericho got the microphone back again, he started talking about Marco Stunt and made you believe that match could actually happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I can go 10 minutes with you. And I can give it all I've got and all this stuff. When he did the thing, the thank you celebration where his dad came out in the Rangers jersey, and he had Santana and Ortiz with the honorary Boricua gift baskets or whatever those were.
Yeah,
he had Sammy Guevara with the cardboard cutout of the two of them, cheek to cheek and all that. Anytime you get some ring time with Chris Jericho, Le Champion, you come off looking like $1 million. And I can't remember the last time I saw somebody do that for months and months at a time. And then this last week, when he was in the ring with Moxley, the tension was palpable. because you had the inner circle. I almost called them the elite. Sorry, RJ. The inner circle surrounding the ring, but they're not doing anything. You know, Hager's over there, Santana and Ortiz. They're just standing there. They're not rushing the ring because they have some respect for Moxley, I think. You know, and Jericho just puts the T-shirt on his shoulder. You know, when you're ready. I don't need an answer tonight. I don't need an answer next week. It's when you're ready, and then ends the show with the T-shirt on Moxley's shoulder and him kind of looking out at the crowd like, It's been some of the best run of microphone work that I've seen from anybody on any topic in any federation ever. And I wanted to get that out there.
I agree, and I'll bullet point it real quick on why I think you're right. He's not burying anyone. Every other mic worker in history that has been great, when they talk about somebody else, they're trying to bury him. Sorry to do this, but your boy, The Rock, is the prime example of it. The Rock tries to bury everybody as soon as he gets the mic because it's all about Rudy Poo candy asses and Cookie Puss and Fruity Pebble Kung Pao bitch. You know, I'm just coming up with some of the more ludicrous things that he has said over his entire career. But he's always bashing somebody. Jericho hasn't bashed a single person. It's still, I'm better than you because I am Le Champion. But it's still, yeah, this could happen. You know, he gets goaded into that match with Scorpio Sky several weeks ago. The promo almost sounded like it was duck season, rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season, rabbit season, duck season. That's pretty much what it sounded like. You're laughing, but at the same time, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes, regrettably, yes, it does.
Regrettably, yes. But you know what?
Regrettably, score one for Patrick.
Give him a points. See, that's the thing, guys. Brian hates having to admit when the hamster wheel that is, you know, the sound of madness right here actually makes one really goofy analogy, and it's brilliant. He doesn't want to give me credit, but when he does, it's just like, it's cringy for him. It's cringy. Because he's like, damn it, I got to do this. I can't avoid this one. I've got to give the devil his due. Ding, 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 ding. Bum, 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 bum. Anyway, moving right along. But he's been able to insult people without him having to do it. Bringing his dad in with Rangers gear in Chicago. And Ted Irvine went full-blown heel on that crap. I remember playing here, and we kicked your ass. I'm like, Jesus, this is great. But in all honesty, the inner circle has been more enjoyable than the elite. Because the elite still do not come off as this cohesive unit. It's just, you know, they're just the boys in the office. Whereas, you know, Sammy Guevara is kind of showing a little, you know, some comedic, cheesy chops. The Pride and Powerful, they're showing off how badass they are, but they're showing off some cheesiness. Jake Hager using as few words as possible. I think we're playing a game of 7 words or less for the rest of the year with Jake Hager. And maybe he gets paid by the syllable, 1 million per. But with as few words as he's actually spoken on camera, it's entertaining. And you're not supposed to like the heels, but they're making where they are enjoyable. Are they doing dastardly things? Yes. Mm-hmm. Which translates to that age-old question that I always ask on this show: do I want to pay my hard-earned money to see insert name here get their ass kicked? Sammy Guevara, Yes.
Yes.
Right? Oh my God, I want to see somebody kick the crap out of Sammy Guevara. Not because he's not good in the ring, not because I don't like him. I like him. I'm supposed to hate him, and I do. I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do, but as a fan of heels, I'm appreciating exactly why I'm supposed to hate him. I mean, it's with Sammy Guevara, I could have the opportunity to meet him. You know, shake his hand. Sammy, love your work, huge fan. I hate you. Every time I see you in the ring with that cheesy ass smile of yours, and I just want to punch out your perfect happy ass little teeth.
Chewing the gum.
Oh God, yes. Such a smarmy ass. But you know what? It works. And let me get to my point.
The bomber jacket with no shirt.
God.
Come on.
He's going to be the next Jericho. I can't believe I just said that. Here's the one thing I have truly hated about AEW since our break. 3 letters. MJF.
Really?
I haven't liked a single. Again, we're talking about heels. This is something that I have the PhD in, not Brian. I am supposed to love hating you. At this point, with what I'm seeing with MJF, since he betrayed Cody, that whole angle makes me want to change the channel just as fast as Rusev, Bobby Lashley, and Lana.
And that's funny because I had that written down as I think it's great that he's getting a chance to shine. Now, obviously, you have the opinion that he's not doing anything with that chance.
He's not shining.
Okay.
He's holding a place, and the sound that you just heard was the cat falling out of the window. She's fine.
Oh, dear.
She's good. You okay, Jenny? Yep, you're good. She's licking her wounds. She's good. Anyway, moving right along. When you're given an opportunity to run as a heel, you got to do something to make more people hate you. Seth Rollins, when he joined the Authority, used J&J Security to his advantage. Now he's using AOP. The first time it was really good. This time it sucks. But trying to come up, The Miz. When The Miz is a heel, everything he does makes me want to punch him, aggravates me to no end. Because when he's wrestling my favorites, I want my favorites to win through the whole suspension of disbelief. I want a Dean Ambrose. I know that's not a name we use on this show, but I want a Dean Ambrose or a Finn Balor or an AJ Styles or a Shinsuke Nakamura to beat the living hell out of The Miz. But The Miz gets away with it and wins, just like Flair would do in the 80s and 90s. But he makes me want to pay to see him get his ass whipped. MJF right now could not pay me to sit on my own couch and watch Hulu to see him get his ass kicked.
Is it because he's not wrestling anybody to back up what he's saying, or is it just basically him railing empty threats in the ring?
Empty threats.
Okay.
There's no conviction in anything he's saying. There's nothing's believable. It's literally like, I'm reading off of this script. That's script, right? You wrote script. Oh, okay. And Carrie Rhodes. Cody? Are you sure? It's sorry for a second rock bashing moment. It's that night Dwayne Johnson had his promo bullet points on his arm. It's just, it ain't working.
Yeah.
MJF needs to do something because everybody else around him is. Cody is just magic. Right now, Brandy is cutting better promos than Maxwell Jacob Friedman. And that whole Nightmare collective thing is weird. It's kind of one of those things where I'm like, excuse me, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
But it's intriguing. It's
I keep
intriguing.
watching. I don't get it, but I keep watching.
Right. Kind of like the first time you ever saw The Matrix. You're like, the hell did I just watch? I don't know. Let's watch it again. Okay. And then after 17 times, you're like, oh, okay.
And I still don't get it.
Well, yeah, but it's still fun. But yeah, I gotta be honest, and this is the real hot take that I've got that I'm glad RJ's not here for. I have thought during our break, AEW has been in a state of decline. I don't think their shows have been, and even if they're not really in a state of decline and it's more of a plateau, and that might be the case because on the other side of the Wednesday Night War, every episode of NXT since Survivor Series has been a bombshell. One right after another, a first round knockout every time. But while they're doing that, I think quality wise, not necessarily ratings, because they've only beaten AEW in the ratings once during this break, and which also means once in the entire time that the war's been going on. AEW's quality has either just flatlined or it's slowly starting to drop, and NXT's in-ring quality is on the rise.
I think the reason for that, they only just announced that their next major event they're working towards is, isn't it in the beginning of February?
Yeah, Revolution.
Yeah. So maybe they've lacked a little focus. Perhaps, I mean, that's the age-old argument. If I'm not building towards a major event where there's going to be a title on the line, or
there's another event before Revolution, but I don't think it's like a full-blown pay-per-view. It's Bash at the Beach, which I think coincides with Jericho's cruise.
I think you're right. So maybe it's just been a lack of focus, the last couple of weeks, because I have noticed that too, and I've also read some think pieces online and stuff like that AEW might be slipping a little bit, but I think you're right. It's more of a plateau than it is a decline, because there's still a lot of great moments happening every week on Dynamite.
Yeah, I agree. It's very enjoyable, but I think NXT over the better part of the last 3 weeks has just been quality-wise far and away better. Okay, so Professor Brian, letter grades here. Would it be safe to say that you would give both AEW and NXT their performances since our break, you would give them some form of an A?
Yeah, I mean, I would go so far as to give A minuses to both of them, because you mentioned Brandy and the Nightmare Collective, and what Brandy's trying to do is they realize the women's division is in need of some propping up's the wrong term. I think that's what she's trying to do, is she's trying to get some women out there that are credible threats, to Riho. She's still the champ right now, correct?
Yeah.
And you get a good heel champion to run with the belt for a couple of months, or even half the upcoming year or something like that. That'd be the one area I'd really downgrade them, But the match rate is awesome. Anytime Lucha Brothers are in the ring, anytime Private Party's in the ring, anytime Young Bucks are in the ring, or anytime Cody wrestles, anytime Jericho actually wrestles, anytime Sammy Guevara actually wrestles, Moxley, Omega, etc., it's awesome.
Still missing one. Anytime Dustin Rhodes wrestles.
I'm sorry, that's my fault.
Holy crap. Where is where has this dude been the last 5 years?
Oh yeah.
His old ass has found the fountain of youth again. Damn it! It's a beautiful thing.
And you could say the same thing about NXT, and I give their women's division a bit of an uptick, although it was a pretty scary match between Mia Yim and Dakota Kai last week. I mean, I just
them two ladies beat the hell out of each other, and it was beautiful. It was a great fight. It was not a match. That was a fight.
Yeah.
That was two chicks just throwing down, and it was a beautiful thing.
So both promotions get a solid A- for me. I see no reason to grade them any lower than that.
Do Raw or SmackDown get anything better than a C?
No.
Okay, let's move on.
I'm gonna some foreshadowing here too. And I can't believe I'm about to say this. One of our categories for our year-end awards is Feud of the Year. And because of something that happened on SmackDown, I'm going to put a SmackDown feud. I'm going to advance it for consideration for Feud of the Year. That's all I'm going to say.
Right.
It's something that something finally happened of consequence in the feud, and it made me realize how long these two guys have been going at it. And something finally happened to be like, oh, okay, fine, great. Now we're cooking here. So let's segue at that point, if you will, into the match of the year proposals portion of the program.
I completely agree with that. Now, here's what we've got. We've got several categories that we're going to discuss for our year-end awards. We have a match of the year. We have a male performer of the year. We have a female performer of the year. We have a breakout star of the year. We have a feud of the year, and we have a dumbest thing we ever saw that was not Rusev, Bobby Lashley, and Lana award of the year.
Now, is that worst thing of the year or worst performer? Because I guess I must have missed that during our pre-show.
Worst performer of the year. Yeah, we're going to get a little
I got one for that that's going to surprise you too.
We're going to give somebody to business.
Okay. In the interest of clarity, we are only going to put forth 3 nominees for each category, because we could do 5 or 10 like the Oscars do and have a 7-hour show, but our wives would, break our kneecaps if that happened, and our listeners would head for the hills. So we're not going to do that.
What my kneecaps if we did a 7-hour long award show? Yeah, she said yes.
Yeah. Lovebird's not around to say yes, but I know she wouldn't be nodding. She says 7 hours, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Fine.
Rant mode on to me like I was stupid.
Yeah.
So we're going to propose. We are each going to propose 3 very quickly, and then over the next couple of weeks, we will narrow it down to 3 finalists, and then we will throw them out there for you guys to vote on. Get some of our friends that watch wrestling to vote, and then that's how we will determine the winners. It won't just be a panel of dos. It will be multiple people. It'll be our entire group that we watch wrestling with. And
matter of fact, by Christmas, this list will be up on the title page of our bit.ly/with egos Google repository. So you can go take a look at that at your leisure and weigh in on the social media at bkrigo15 for your boy, at Rant Mode On for the handsome gentleman over there on the other camera, at RJ Eman with 2 N's for our brother from another mother, RJ. And you can email the show, wrestlingwithegos@gmail.com. So where would you like to start, good sir? What category are we thinking about starting with?
Let's start with worst performer and just kind of work our way up.
Okay. My first nominee for worst performer, because she really hasn't done anything with the platform she's been given since she returned. She's been kind of ancillary, which for her is not her style, and I'm shocked that this is how she's being used. Sasha Banks.
Ooh.
And she's not a second fiddle girl. And she's been average at best and lukewarm at worst. And that's why I would put her in the worst performer category this year.
I'm going to see your Sasha Banks and raise you another one of our collective favorites, Alexa Bliss. I
Okay.
mean, she spent a lot of time on the shelf this year, and when she's been back, she's really hasn't done much of anything. She did have a tag team title run with Nikki Cross, but that was about it. And that angle really didn't go very far at all. So I'm going to say Alexa Bliss.
And to be fair, the only other person I have written down, because I just kind of went through these categories and just kind of spitballed. I'm not. I'll be honest with you. You're probably gonna have a lot more submissions than I am, because it's hard for me to think back the entirety of the year without sitting down and watching match after match after match. Excuse me, on the network. Which, who has the time to do that? The only one of the other one I come up with off the top of my head was Bobby Lashley, because he's a charisma vacuum, basically, and I wonder at what point he would, if he's just grateful to be on television, or at what point he would speak up and say, "Guys, I don't like this angle." But he's been just saddled in bad angle after bad angle after bad angle all year, and this would be a fitting end to 2019 for him to win the Wrestling with Ego's Worst Performer of the Year award.
I've got two more.
Okay.
Elias. Actually, I have three more. I'm sorry. So Elias, Eric Rowan, and Dolph Ziggler. Why do I have these three down? First off, Elias's gimmick is, in my opinion, runs stale. He's not shaking anything up. He's not changing anything. It's the same old shtick. He's becoming Conan, repeating the same nonsense over and over, week after week. Eric Rowan, I've never been a fan of him. I don't like him. I think he's boring in the ring. I think he's boring in the mic. And what in God's name is up with that stupid cage?
There's a chinchilla in there.
It's going to be the melted remains of head. There you go.
The chinchilla's name is Bert.
And Dolph Ziggler, because kind of the same reasons that it's Elias, Dolph Ziggler is still the same Dolph Ziggler from 15 years ago.
I think the three strongest that we've put forth are actually Ziggler, Bliss, and Sasha.
You know what? So let it be written.
Okay, I have asterisks next to those, so that category is finalized then.
That is final. All right, let's do breakout star of the year.
Okay. I'd like to bask in his glory.
That was my first one. That was my first one. Definitely would be Keith Lee.
It is limitless.
Oh God, yeah. I would actually like to. We don't necessarily talk about this brand this type of wrestling much. Tessa Blanchard over on Impact.
Okay. Because she's making waves.
Oh my Lord, yes. Impact is doing a lot of intergender stuff with her, and she's beating guys. She beat Brian Cage recently. I know she had a match, or she's got a match coming up with Sami Callihan for the Impact World title. I don't know if it happened yet, and truth be told, I'll find out before the year-end show, but I don't watch Impact. Sorry. But yeah, I would throw Tessa Blanchard in there for consideration, because for all the things that Becky Lynch is doing in WWE's women's division, Tessa Blanchard is going, top that.
Right.
Top that, man.
Now, my next one you might have an issue with because of what you said about him earlier, but I'm kind of looking at this as a year-long thing.
Okay.
I would put MJF as a breakout, because up until recently, he was making waves. And, to be fair, I haven't seen him in the ring that much. but for no other reason than his capabilities on the mic and his ability to get his heel gimmick over up until recently, like you were talking about. I would put him forth as a breakout star because AEW obviously has, if they're smart with it, a heel for a long time on their brand.
Yeah.
On their hands.
I have two more.
Okay.
First one, Private Party.
Yeah, man.
I love everything about these guys. They're young, they're exciting, they're flashy in the ring, a lot of charisma. And ever since they arrived on the scene at AEW, that's all we've been able to talk about. Ever since Dynamite started and we were really getting exposed a lot to Private Party, they have been at the forefront of this show. So we have to, my opinion, that's one of the ones that absolutely needs a star. I don't think there's any argument against it. I got one more, but I'm going to save it for last, if you don't mind. So rattle off anything else you got.
I actually don't have anything else. That
Okay.
MJF and Keith Lee were the two that came to mind right off the bat for me. So they're the only ones I feel real strongly about.
Well, my other one, I don't know if you would actually call breakout, but the change that the character went through was truly groundbreaking. Bray Wyatt. This is a better Bray Wyatt than we've ever seen, and we're talking like the very beginnings of the incarnation of the Wyatt family when it was really good. None of that compares to The Fiend. I think The Fiend and the Firefly Funhouse might be some of the best stuff we've ever seen in our generation of professional wrestling. I'll argue that I will argue right now, if you were to take just like the best 6-month run of any of the great true characters in wrestling, Sting, The Undertaker, Kane, right now, I think The Fiend blows all three of them out of the water, just in this very small sample size. But I still think it's breakout worthy because we weren't talking about Bray Wyatt as the most marketable guy in WWE until SummerSlam when he came out as The Fiend and we're like, oh my God, what the hell was this?
Yeah, so, I agree. I think so. I think of the people we've talked about. I mean, we could do this. We could do 4 people for this category and say Keith Lee, Tessa Blanchard, Private Party, Bray Wyatt.
Okay. I'm all for that. Which one do you want to do next, buddy?
Let's go to tag team next. My first submission for tag team is the Lucha Brothers.
Okay.
Because of what a revelation they are to me. I mean, I know they've been working for mad years, but every time they get in the ring, I've never seen that move before.
Right.
You know, and they can go. They don't have the belts right now, but it doesn't matter.
I'm going to be honest, as far as my list for tag teams, the AEW tag team champions aren't even on my list. SCU is not even there. Because I've got 4 written down, and it's not any of those 4. Lucha Brothers was one of mine. Another one of mine is Private Party.
Yep, I have them too.
This one might surprise you because I truly think they have been just fun as hell to watch, especially while they were in NXT. Actually, no, I'm going to scratch that one. Instead of Street Profits, I'm going to say Fish and O'Reilly. Red Dragon, Undisputed Era, whatever you want to call them. My opinion, second best tag team on the entire planet. What else you got?
Well, I also had Private Party. I also wrote down the New Day for the fact that they can survive an injury to Xavier Woods and continue to be relevant.
Yes.
Kofi and Big E can still go out there and entertain and give you a quality match in the ring and win the tag team championships,
For the
even if they don't have the free bird advantage
right.
necessarily. Plus, we know about what they can do on the mic. Plus, we know what they can do, building their brand and being, doing philanthropic stuff and all that kind of stuff. So I would put the New Day out there as another one. Are they would I fight for them as hard as I would these other people that we mentioned? Probably not, because they have the misfortune of being on SmackDown where tag teams are an afterthought.
Right.
Yeah.
However, there is one tag team on SmackDown that is also on my list. Remember how I said Undisputed Era was the second best tag team on the planet? The Revival is still the best tag team on the planet. That's all I gotta say. I will. Don't get me wrong. I love the excitement of watching the Lucha Brothers or Private Party or the Bucks or Best Friends or any of those exciting tag teams on in AEW. Their tag team division blows WWE clean out of the water. But there's still that upper echelon tag team that's over here in WWE while everybody else is over here. It's like college football reference. It's like the SEC West right here with Bama at LSU, Auburn, and Bama, and some other teams. But then over here is Ohio State.
Yeah.
Ohio State and a bunch of people they beat the piss out of. And then over here is just Murderers Row. That's kind of how I feel about the Revival. And they don't get the shine that they should because they're not able to have quality matches unless it's either the New Day or the Usos. And the Usos are sitting out right now because they can't stop drinking and driving. By the way, kids, don't drink and drive.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. So that's
why don't we make this another 4-person category and leave out the New Day?
So we're gonna go Lucha
Brothers, Private Party, O'Reilly, and Fish in the Revival.
Okay, I can deal with that. I honestly think there were only 2 teams you couldn't leave off, and everybody else was, negotiable. I think you have to have the Lucha Brothers, and I think you have to have the Revival. You probably have to have Undisputed Era in there as well, but there's, they get that negative connotation because it's NXT. But then again, they also did beat, the New Day and the War Raiders.
All right, let's go to feud next because here's what I was talking about before. There was an unfortunate incident on SmackDown. Well, you might call it not unfortunate, but Roman Reigns found himself handcuffed to the ring post during a match. And Dolph Ziggler and King Baron Corbin found some wet dog food under the ring. Not found, I'm sure it was placed there by, a man who shall remain nameless. And they proceeded to open the cans of dog food and smear them all over Reigns' face. I thought at the time it was stupid and pointless, and why are we sinking to these depths? But now I understand, and this is why I'm putting Reigns and Corbin as a feud of the year. Finally, because these 2 guys have been circling around each other for the better part of this whole year. Because Corbin has a problem with how Reigns is untouchable and he's the big dog and all this stuff, and why don't I get that spot and that sort of thing. And Corbin's been recruiting all these lackeys, of which Ziggler is one, and Robert Roode before he got suspended. Great job, by the way, Robert Roode. That sort of thing. And running them at Reigns, and now finally tonight we're supposed to get Reigns and Corbin main eventing TLC. What does that say about the match quality of TLC? But never mind that, they're still the main event tonight. This match, this rivalry finally has some teeth. It finally has some legs, and it's been a long simmering one. So that's why I would put it out there as a nominee for feud of the year. My God, he's speechless, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I was writing down, and honestly, I didn't think of that one, but I also can't argue it. I can't argue that one at all. It has been a very, to quote you, very sneaky good.
Yeah, it's
Very,
had longevity. You know, has it gotten the run that other feuds have had? No, but then when you sit down, and you look at it. Wow, they've been going at it for the better part of 7, 8 months now.
yeah. I've got to go with my obvious one because I think it became a great feud out of necessity because the feud that we wanted to have, we couldn't get. Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole.
Already putting an asterisk by it.
Okay. It's already there.
You're not gonna.
I mean, the nominee would have been if Ciampa doesn't have to have neck surgery and we get the match after Gargano stops Ciampa short from running him into the LED board and then blasts him the same way he got several years prior when we started this feud, then the undisputed answer, I'd go ahead and say it right now, we're not even discussing this. We're handing the award right now to Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano again, even though we didn't do them last year, but that was the no doubt about it feud of the year last year. We'd still be talking about it again had we not had to have neck surgery. But what we got instead was some really good promos after Gargano won the title from Adam Cole. We got some great back and forth, some great heel promos from Adam Cole. And then that became the rise of the Undisputed Era. I loved it. So what else you got?
For a lot of the same reasons you put them forth in the tag team discussion, New Day Revival seem to have developed quite the rivalry too, because the one is always there to answer the other's challenge. Because whenever one of them wins the belts, like if New Day wins the belts, Revival comes out and says, "Better put those belts in the line against us." And when Revival has the belts, New Day comes out, put the belts in the line, baby, and that sort of thing. And it's poetry in the ring.
The Revival has replaced the Usos as the New Day's feud, old shoe. And truth be told, I think it's better.
Yeah.
I think it's
Those are the three that I have. I'm sure there's some from AEW that I'm overlooking.
I've got one from AEW, and this is the only one I've got left. And it's not really a feud, but it's also a feud because of the way the character's built. Moxley versus everybody.
Okay.
Moxley versus everybody because nobody's safe.
Moxley versus the world. Okay, got it.
No, not the world. Everybody. ERRBODY. Everybody.
Oh.
And no, when we put the graphic up in a couple of weeks for the award show, it will not say Moxley versus everybody. Unless Brian says it, then you bet your sweet ass we will.
Well, do you want to drop New Day Revival and just make those three then? Or do you want to keep four?
Let's just keep the four. Let's just
keep the four. Okay.
Push all four through because if we don't push Moxley through, then we don't really have a. You know what? Let me throw one more in there from AEW. Omega Pack. Omega Moxley. Instead of Moxley and everybody, let's just do Moxley Omega, and that's our four.
Okay. Omega versus himself.
Yeah.
There's a narrative for you.
Yeah. Omega and Moxley, Corbin Reigns, Gargano Cole, New Day Revival. Okay. I got a feeling I know which one's going to win that one.
Patrick versus Brian. Just kidding. Um,
that is a never-ending feud.
Let's go female next.
No, let's save the ladies for last.
Okay, we'll save the ladies for last.
Save the
You
ladies.
want to go match of the year next? Or do you want to go male next?
Male match ladies.
Okay. My first nominee for the male is Le Champion, Chris Jericho, because I mean, how could you not? The mic work, him, being trusted with the spot to be your first your inaugural AEW champion. I almost did the same thing you did at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
And he's ever since that there really hasn't been a misstep. He's sitting there across the table from Cody, and you can feel the hatred and animosity simmering. He's sharing the ring with Marco Stunt and making him look like $1,000,000. He's elevating all these relative unknowns around him. Sammy Guevara, Santana and Ortiz, and so on and so forth. Everybody gets a shine from working with him. So for those reasons alone, and his mic work, you put him in the conversation.
Well, I've got Jericho on mine, so I'm starring that one. I'd like to point out that nobody on my list of 6, including Jericho, is either on Raw or SmackDown.
I actually don't have anybody on those shows either. I was going to write down AJ Styles, but AJ Styles has had kind of an ordinary year by his standards.
Yeah, it has.
I won't call it bad. I'll just call it ordinary, because when he gets a match, he shows out, as always. But he's been lost in the shuffle a little bit.
Right. My next one, I'm putting him on the list because you have to put him on the list because he's the single best wrestler on God's green earth, Kazuchika Okada. I mean, we are just a few weeks old. We haven't even freaking talked about Wrestle Kingdom, and it's coming up. We're going to talk about Wrestle Kingdom when we do the awards show, because Okada's going to defend the son of a bitch twice.
Okada 2 times. Okay.
So yeah, I've got to put.
We'll carve some time out for that. I got to study up because I need to give that some justice. So we'll carve some time out for Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah. All right. Who else you got?
Cody Rhodes.
Oh, absolutely.
Cody Rhodes. To me, I can't think of another person who risked all of his credibility, at least some of his own finances, and his own, mentality of how he thinks a wrestling promotion should be run. He rolled the dice, and it's come up aces more often than it hasn't. There's been some missteps, which we've talked about, but he's cutting great promos. If we were talking in the pre-show lead up to this, that if there was a promo of the year category, there wouldn't be much in the way of nominees besides the "you stupid" promo, because I'm not going to say it.
But Richard.
Yeah. But Cody's got the gravitas. Cody has the believability, and he bet on himself, and it's he's winning everybody over and putting out a nice alternative product for people to consume.
Yep. Here's my next nominee, and I'm not even going to say the guy's name. I'm just going to slide over a little bit so I can use a hand motion. Boom. Adam Cole, baby.
Smooth in the ring, smooth in the mic, involved in, match after quality match. Great representative of the brand.
In my opinion, he is the all-encompassing, like everything under the umbrella. He is WWE's 2019 MVP.
Yes.
He's the best thing they've had all year long. So I got 2 more. How about you?
I don't have anymore. I said all of mine.
All right, then I'll go ahead and make mine very quick. My other one from NXT, Tommaso Ciampa. Ciampa for the simple reason that he was at the top when he left because of his surgery. He came back. He was still, and he proved instantly he was still at the top. He's still the psycho killer. So I have to do that. And because of how exciting he's been to watch just in terms of his promos and his matches and what he's been able to do now that he's found this newfound freedom, Jon Moxley. So I've got it down to actually the 4 that we agreed on, and I would actually leave off Moxley and Ciampa and push forward Okada, Jericho, Adam Cole, and Cody.
I'm fine with that.
All right.
I mean, I wouldn't have cared if you had said make it a 6-person category, but we can shorten it up a little bit.
We'll make it a 6. I'm good with that too. I'd rather make it a 6, but I was going to try and condense it to 4. I'd rather make it 6.
Okay.
Match of the year. I'm starting first. Gargano Part 1.
That's the only match I have written down because I don't remember where the other matches happened. So you're gonna have to help me out with this. Because I have matches that are going through my head, but I can't remember where they happened. Didn't really have a chance to research that before we went on tonight. But yes, Cole Gargano at TakeOver New York, obviously, you know. Now that was just a straight up match, right? Or was that 2 out of 3?
That was 2 out of 3.
Okay.
That was 2 out of 3.
Before there were 2 of them?
Yeah, the last one was the one where Gargano picked a stip, Cole picked a stip, and then Regal picked a stip in that cage.
And so Cole won the championship there.
No, Cole won the championship at TakeOver 25, and then defended it the next pay-per-view when that was 2 out of 3 falls. Because when he defended it to TakeOver 25, that's when the Wrestle and Flow guy wrapped him to the ring.
Okay.
And that match was scheduled for 1 fall.
Okay.
Oh, you're killing me.
Oh, sorry. Because I'm trying to think about my other submissions.
Let's talk about your matches then.
Was it the debut episode of AEW Dynamite where we had, was it Private Party versus Lucha Brothers? Or was that a tag team triple threat?
It was the debut of Dynamite. We had the beginning of the tag team tournament. And that's when we had Private Party and the Bucks, because the Bucks were the 1 seed and Private Party was the 8 seed.
And that's the match I came on like gushing about, as I recall.
Where we were gushing about it during the match on our message chat.
I would put that one forth.
Oh yeah, it's on my list.
On regular television. That's why I'd put it forth.
Yeah, that's on my list too. Don't worry.
The Lights Out Omega Moxley match. Was that Double or Nothing?
No, Lights Out Omega Moxley was Full Gear.
Full Gear.
My next submission just actually happened very recently. The men's War Games match.
For reasons we talked about to kick off the show.
Oh yeah, it was just exciting from the word go. Which one of the Young Bucks faced Rey Fenix?
I think that was Matt, because it's Nick that was out. Sorry, RJ. It's either Nick was out with an undisclosed injury for a while, so Matt was wrestling by himself. It's the other way around. Oh boy.
We'll look it up, but it's Jackson versus Phoenix.
I'm gonna roll the dice and say it was Matt, and it was Nick that was out. I think that's how it went down.
Figure it out for definite, and we'll have it right for you when we actually do this. But so right now, we'll just say Jackson versus Ray Phoenix. Because, oh my Lord, that was great.
And that was the Dynamite too.
Yes, that was a Dynamite. Honestly, with the exception of Omega and Moxley from Full Gear, I don't think any of AEW's pay-per-view matches are on my list. I think every other AEW match I have is Dynamite. But then again, that's also the last match I had from Dynamite as well.
So those are mine. I the Cole Gargano, the Bucks versus Private Party, and the Lights Out match from Omega and Moxley are the ones that I can think of off the top of my head.
I've got one more from that G1 climax, as we discussed heavily on this show. Tetsuya Naito and Jay White in the finals. No, that was the semifinals. That was the semifinal because the final was Jay White and Kota Ibushi. So yeah, Tetsuya Naito and Jay White from the semifinals of the G1 Climax of 2019. So that's my last.
I don't know how you leave any of these off to whittle the category.
I don't either. I think we got 6 nominees, and I think all 6 get pushed.
Okay.
So, and finally, let's wrap it up with
by the time this list gets up on the bit.ly/with egos, I will have figured out which Jackson it was that wrestled Ray Phoenix. Because that was last month, as I recall.
Yeah.
Beginning of November or whatever.
Yeah.
So for the ladies, I will put forth Shayna Baszler. Because she has been cooler than the other side of the pillow. And as we mentioned in the opening of the show, she's been turning aside challenger after challenger after would-be challenger in a way that I can't remember seeing.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen man or woman do this with the efficiency, really, that Shayna Baszler is doing. Because it's not trade the belt with one person the way Triple H and The Rock used to, or the way Charlotte and Becky Lynch have in the past, or so on. She's Charlotte, just, you line them up, and I'm going to knock them down. Right.
She's on my list hardcore, so I think that's a definite one. I'm also gonna throw out another NXT name that might not be on your list, Io Shirai.
Okay.
I honestly think that heel Io Shirai is electric. From entrance to in-ring, everything about her is just, it's fun to watch. And honestly and truly, I think her entrance is just gangster as hell.
The talking in Japanese and not caring whether you understand me or not.
Right. And it also sounds kind of crazy too. It sounds like she's just kind of maniacal. Because she's also talking to herself in Japanese, coming down the ring and screaming while she's doing it. So I would go with that one as well. How about you? Any other submissions?
Kind of a selfish one because I love that it happened. What's happened since this went down has been kind of middling at best. But I'm glad to see Bayley finally embrace her inner heel, because it was a departure that needed to be taken. And she's reaped the benefits of that departure by winning the championship, and the style in which she shed the happy-go-lucky, I'm just here to have a good time and interact with the fans situation, was top.
I'm turning the camera.
Okay.
So
So, Bailey gets the nod from me.
Okay, well, I've got three more. How about you?
I have one more.
Go ahead and give me yours.
Rhea Ripley.
Okay, that's not on my list, but we'll discuss that one as well. Because we got some names on here that I don't think we can officially narrow this one down yet. The three that I've got left, even though she is no longer employed, she has had one hell of a 2019, and that would be former Ring of Honor World Champion Kelly Klein.
Okay.
I don't think you can have this list without having the man on there, Becky Lynch, because she is pretty much.
The only reason I didn't write her down was because what she's done since WrestleMania has been kind of unfortunate. She got lumped in with Seth. Oh look, we're engaged and we're the champions, and yeah, it's great. So she kind of got lumped into that and placed in some unfortunate situations too, and she's kind of lost a little steam. I mean, I definitely put her on the list. I don't know that I would call her the female wrestler of the year, though.
Well, she's on the list. And my last one also is listed on our breakout of the year list, Tessa Blanchard.
Okay.
I honestly, I don't see how you do this list without mentioning. Truth be told, I think there are two names, and only two names, that I think are undisputed on this list, and that's Shayna Baszler and Tessa Blanchard. Everybody else, in my opinion, is up for debate.
I agree.
We know
we could even drop Rhea from this list if you wanted to.
Okay, we can.
She's more of a breakout right now. She's sort of unproven.
All right. Well, I'll see. I'll since you dropped that one off of your list, I'll drop Becky, because I do agree with you that the second half of 2019 has kind of sucked, but she's still
a little tepid.
Still a draw.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been as fun. So how about we just push the rest of them through and go Tessa Blanchard, Kelly Klein, Shayna Baszler, Io Shirai, and Bayley.
That's fine.
All right. Is there anything else we're forgetting here?
No, I do believe that settles it. We've got our 6 matches of the year. We've got 6 males, 5 females, 4 tag teams, 4 breakouts, 4 feuds, and 3 worsts. And a partridge in a pear tree.
In a pear tree.
Yeah.
Real quick, best Wrestling with Egos segment of 2019. I'm going to be honest, I think there's only one answer to this.
Is it the one where, what were we doing? And somebody was cracking up because of it. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to go back. What was this about? It was a match we got for homework.
Oh, it was
a result of the King of the Road match. I think.
No, I think it was when RJ and I live watched the Kennel from Hell match.
But there was something that was making all 3 of us crack up. Some reference in the.
It was when I gave you guys King of the Road, and you guys both just blasted me.
Well, but there was something else that was like a couple of weeks later or something. I'm gonna have to go back. I'm gonna have to go back and figure it out.
Can I be honest? My favorite, what I think the best segment of 2019 was?
Yes.
The Wrestling with Egos Funhouse.
Yeah, that was just, it blew me away when I saw it. And then the way everything was spliced together to make it look as if, it's all going down right now. And, the creativity that RJ and his family showed on that.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
His wife and his son helped him out with that. And honestly, I think next week, I think for our end of the year award show, I think we'll probably start the show off with that, just kind of as a homage, because it was just freaking brilliant. I got to be honest. I edit the show every week, and I add the graphics and do all the post production work. And as good as it may or may not be, it's what I do. It's what I enjoy doing. But I got to be honest. I've never had more fun editing, and putting all the sound in than anything else. Because quick little backstory on it, boys and girls. RJ was providing all of the sound, the screeching and the theme music and everything else through his own phone. So it didn't really sound all that great. So through the magic of editing, and because I'm either pretty damn good or I got really lucky, I'll let you guys figure out which one, and I'll leave that as your own debate. Either answer is fine with me. I was able to get the music in an MP3 file and put it exactly in place where it needed to be. And it sounded better and everything else. And I had so much fun doing that, because honestly felt like Dr. Frankenstein. It was awesome. So that's my answer for best segment of 2019 was the Wrestling with Egos Funhouse, followed by Brian's Fireside Chats. I have enjoyed your Fireside Chats.
My final fireside chat, I'm bound to determine my final fireside chat of 2019 is going to have an actual fire in the fireplace. Because every time the lovebird sees these, she's like, okay, you call it a fireside chat, and yet there's no fire in the fireplace. And my counter to her is, I'm not going to start a fire at 11 o'clock at night when I'm recording this fireside chat. It has to have one. We have to have had one going all day, so that sort of thing. So it's going to happen, folks. The fire will be lit at some point. I just don't know when it's going to happen. I will try my best to make it happen soon.
I've got an idea for you, and I'll message it to you either later tonight or tomorrow. I just got an idea. But also something I'm disappointed in is you haven't dressed up yet. You have no sweaters, no shirt and ties, because we're having fireside chat. I figured we would at least, see you in, something more professional, since we're having these fireside chats.
Okay, well, I will take that under advisement, good sir.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, nothing wrong with rocking your Saints gear and whatever shirts you're wearing, but
always repping.
Always repping. But you know what? You got to rock the good stuff every now and then, man. Okay. I mean, we're doing the award show, and it's not come dressed as you are. We gotta, we've already decided we gotta dress it up a little bit.
Not renting a tux.
No, God, no. Shirt and tie, maybe.
Okay.
Shirt and tie, maybe, as opposed to this, this past WrestleMania episode when I think I was actually wearing this.
A Henley.
I was wearing a Henley, and you're wearing a shirt and tie.
That was hilarious. The way I was just like looking at you with enmity because you were wearing a Henley. And the way I just said, and you're wearing a Henley. It's WrestleMania, Patrick.
The occasion. Like that.
You're in a Henley.
Yeah. So, well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Wrestling with Egos. As you've heard it already, don't forget to check us out on our Google repository at bit.ly/withegos. Don't forget to email the show, wrestlingwithegos@gmail.com. On Twitter, you can hit both of us up. Brian's at bcrego, CREGO15. I'm at rant mode on. RJ, the disembodied voice that he is, can be hit up at RJEman with not one but two N's. And for the love of God, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, click the bell. That way you're getting the notifications. Because as you've seen, we're doing bonus content now, and we're having a hell of a lot of fun doing it. Rant mode on. I've got to be honest, I had fun doing that.
And it isn't lost on me that the bonus content gets more views because it's shorter. And we're fine with that. We get it. It's hard to stay with us for an hour and a half. That's fine. But RJ does bonus content. Patrick goes rant mode on for 3.5 minutes. Your boy gives you a fireside chat the last 4.5 minutes. We see those get more views. We're fine with that. We're happy you're consuming us. Keep it up.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to cut the show quite a bit too. Don't worry. Because right now we're looking at about on the timer an hour and 40 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, this thing's not going to be an hour and 40 minutes. No, sir. But we want to thank you guys. We will not see you until after Christmas. That is a guarantee. So have a Merry Christmas. Happy, if Christmas isn't your thing, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays. Whatever you do it with friends, do it with family, do it with people you love, and show that love. Because ultimately, no matter what the holiday is, it's all about community, and it's all about being for your community, whatever it is. Reach out. If you feel so inclined, do charitable work. Donate to a group or a church that's doing a project for the holidays. Throwing mine out there. You can always, my church at River Tree Christian Canal, Fulton, in Ohio, we're doing a meal pack on Sunday the 22nd. We're not even having our church service. This is our church service. We're inviting our entire community to join us to pack 50,000 meals for people in Honduras. We need about $12,000 to be able to pull this off. And as always, we're looking for the community and everything else for donation. So if you want to donate, you can always go to rivertreecanalfulton.com/food and make your donation from there. And in the memo, throw my name in there. Patrick sent me. I already know a couple of my friends that, live out of this area that have donated, and I really appreciate that. Sean and Sarah, I'm looking at you guys. And I know they watch. So, information is right there under us. Feel free to donate. Brian, you know of any other charitable things you want to push for this holiday season?
I mean, the biggest thing I want to push is be present in the holiday, whatever the holiday is.
Amen.
The stress can get to us. The stress has already gotten to me a couple times, and I have to stop and think, why am I doing all of this? It's to bring happiness and joy to other people. Bring happiness to your loved ones. Reach out and call somebody you haven't talked to in a while. Drive around and look at Christmas lights if it makes you happy. I know that makes me happy. Something as simple as just driving around the block a couple of times to see what your neighbors are doing, and just breathe, and it's gonna turn out the way it's meant to turn out. So I want to send my heartfelt thanks again to everyone for coming along with us on this crazy ride we call Wrestling with Egos this year. And I wish you all the merriest of Christmases and the holiday you celebrate. I hope it's a great one for you all, and I hope you stick with us in 2020 because we got some big things coming.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have another blast next year, like we have for the majority of this year. Happy Facebook friend anniversary to this guy right over here, my best friend in the entire world. 7 years today, we became Facebook friends. God help the rest of the world. The worst day of Brian's life was 7 years ago today when he officially decided, yeah, I'm going to be friends with this Patrick cat. What a wild, strange trip it's been. And to quote you from earlier. But yeah, be present in the moment. Do something nice for somebody. Just, it could be something small, it could be something big. Donate to a charity. Donate to, like I said, donate to a project. Donate if you want to donate to something and can't think of something. Hey, my church has got a project. Help us out. Go to your nearest coffee shop and get your coffee. And whoever's in line next to you, just quietly hang around until they get ready to pay, and then just slide right in and go, no, I got this one too. And then all you ask in return of that person is they pay it forward. Because if I buy Brian's coffee, Brian buys somebody else's coffee, that person buys a tank of gas for somebody else. One little move, as long as we keep paying it forward, can keep going and keep going and keep going. And it's all about making this world a better place. Doesn't matter what country you live in, doesn't matter what kind of political BS is going on, whether it be in the US, the UK, You know, if you're in a country that's dealing with infighting and civil war, keep your head up. You know, if you're in Canada, well, hello there, eh? Whatever. Just be the change you want to see in the world. I'll leave it at that. For Brian, for RJ, for our families, have a wonderful, a safe, and a most importantly, have a fun holiday. We will see you guys after Christmas when we do the year-end awards. And until then, this has been Wrestling with Egos, and as always, that's our story, and we're sticking to it.